I never imagined being as far as I've made it today.
This man may really be the greatest of all time.
I worked really hard to be a guy who dominates a lot of opponents.
It's a man against boys. I mean, this is just the story of every Jon Jones fight.
He has proven many times that he is nearly unstoppable.
The progress of Jon Jones from his first fight to today is really staggering.
One of the most dangerous men on the planet. Jon Jones has been dominant.
He truly believes that he will go down in history as the greatest fighter to ever compete in this sport. Jon Jones, an excellent wrestler. The first time we saw Jon Jones, he's only fought one time in the UFC, and he looked outstanding against Andre Guzmão. He showed some really, not just great wrestling, but really unorthodox striking. He's got a very difficult task tonight. American Psycho Stephen Bonner, much more experience than Jon.
He rocked him with that spinning back fist. The sky is the limit for unbeaten Johnny Bones Jones. He has to have impressed everyone in attendance tonight.
Johnny Bones Jones has so much hype behind him.
Tonight, it's a clash of titans. Brandon Vera and Jon Bones Jones. Vicious elbow. Jon Jones defeats Brandon Vera. Wow. I think tonight we saw a glimpse of the future.
I try not to pay attention to the hype, but I do recognize that it's there. I guess the only thing it does is make me try to live up to the potential that I can live up to.
Very exciting young man, this Jon Jones. He is a serious contender for supremacy at 205.
It's all over! Quick and brutal. Vicious.
It's time to take it to the next level.
My goal is to become one of the best in the world, if not the best in my weight class. And so, whoever the UFC decides to give me, I'll be ready for it.
It's all over! Jon Jones chokes out Ryan Bader! Impressive in passing the biggest test of his career. To win the title, he's got to beat the champ, who is one of the greatest and most dangerous of all time.
Showman's hurt. He's hurt, Mike. He's wobbled.
Oh, my! Spinning back elbow. Jones to the body. And it is all over! Jon Jones is the youngest champion in UFC history!
It feels so good. It's a testament that dreams can come true, guys. They really can. Believe in yourself. Believe in your heart. And once you get there, don't slow down.
Rampage has not been stopped in the octagon. That's what Jones wants. To be the first man in the UFC to stop Quentin Rampage Jackson. And it's all over! Jon Jones has defended his UFC light heavyweight championship. Tonight was different. Tonight he was taken into deep waters. Tonight he had a look of concern in his eyes and on his face after the first round against Machida.
Oh! Jon's got his head.
Second.
He's got a choke. Leono's in trouble.
It is all over. Jon Jones remains the UFC light heavyweight champion.
This is the first time that Jon had been in any kind of trouble.
It was good, I think one of my biggest critic points is that I can't take a punch, so I'm glad to prove it to myself and to everyone that I can take a legit hit.
Jon Jones and Rashad Evans used to consider each other brothers, family, but the relationship has gone bad, and it's going to lead to tonight, a fight for the UFC light heavyweight championship.
Big elbow.
Man, the elbows are the story in this fight.
Again, he hurt him.
And he knocked him with that elbow.
Oh,
Man,
big right hand by Jon Jones.
it was the setup.
Clearly, Jon Jones has defended his title.
Undisputed champion of the world.
Man, what a great competition. First time I won 5 rounds, too, so, proving more things to myself, for sure.
Vitor Belfort is one of the greatest men to ever fight in the UFC. So if Jon Jones beats him tonight, that's another huge statement.
Oh, armbar! He's got it! He has got it right here! He might break that arm, Mike. Wow! It's a little high now. I think he's out. He's out. He's out. Wow! Now he's going for Kimura.
It is all over!
That's it.
Jon Jones remains the UFC light heavyweight champion!
And he got that armbar in every way, shape, and form. I've never had my arm pop like that before, and I don't know, I felt it, but I worked too hard to give up.
Jon Jones has been nothing but dominant, and that's exactly what he plans on being tonight in our main event as he looks to shut up Chael Sonnen once and for all. Just swarming on is Jones. Big knee. Looking to finish this fight early. All over him right here in the first round. And then it's all over! Jon Jones has finished Chael Sonnen.
Oh, he's got a broken foot. Oh, man. Wow.
I really wanted to try to chill Sonnen, and I think I did a good job at that.
Jon Jones will look to set the UFC light heavyweight record with his 6th consecutive title defense, a record that has lasted over a decade. Goes high head kick. Big connection for Jones. Again, a nice elbow. Caught him. Oh, that might have hurt. Yeah, that's it. Jones with a vicious knee and a vicious elbow.
Both of these guys are pushed to their
Spinning this ball from Gustafsson.
What an incredible fight.
They're going to go the distance.
Flying knee by Jones.
Wow. What a fight.
Unbelievable. What a fight. That might be the greatest title fight in the history of the light heavyweight division.
He sets the record here tonight in his toughest challenge yet.
I talked to Alexander. That was by far my toughest fight, and like I said, I got to really exercise my warrior spirit tonight.
Tonight, I believe he faces the most dangerous guy he's ever seen inside the octagon. Will Glover Teixeira have the ability to close that gap?
Another clinic put on by Johnny Bones Jones.
What Jon Jones is doing tonight, this is being Jon Jones.
Johnny Bones Jones, dominant once again.
An incredible performance by the champion to shut the game of Glover Teixeira down.
The war of words for this fight has really gone to epic proportions.
These two men have beaten everyone anyone has put in front of them. Good straight left by Jon. Oh! Big kick to the body. What a fight. What a closely contested fight. Look at this. Jon taking down DC.
Momentum is rapidly rising in the corner of Jones. Jones remains the champ.
All the haters, all the crap he talks, it motivated me. I'm sorry that I'm being classless right now. I do not like DC.
The youngest champion in UFC history, returning for the first time in 476 days.
Spin to the body. It's a nasty elbow. That was one of the heaviest takedowns we've ever felt. I felt that through the bottom of the soles of my feet.
He had lost his title to the champ, in fact.
I really had a lot of questions coming in here, and I was just trying to be as confident as possible. But I really needed that. I really needed that fight.
Tonight, we witnessed the continuation of one of the greatest rivalries the sport of mixed martial arts has ever seen.
I think this is the most important fight in the history of the light heavyweight division.
Back in 2013, Jones and Gustafsson engaged in one of the greatest singular fights in UFC history. Tonight, they run it back.
This is an amazing fight, and I cannot wait to see this.
Lead elbow from Jones lands.
Oh, nice leg kick. He's going to take Alex's back. Oh, big shot. Big shot by Jon Jones. Gustafsson's in trouble.
Jones has regained the throne! And he is once again the undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion.
I know there's a guy who's been calling himself champ. One guy just gives up his belt because somebody else made it home. Daddy's home, DC. Prove to the fans you're a champ. Come get a taste. I'm here. Get your belt back. He'll be waiting right here.
I'd like to ask you a question about, on the heavyweight front, you recently set a deadline for Jon Jones to face Tom Aspinall or risk losing the title. And with that situation evolving, what criteria are you using to decide uphold legacy by waiting for Jones or prioritize division activity by clearing the belt?
You said the timeline for Jones, 2 weeks to decide what to do with the title, whether it takes the fight or you're going to strip him. What do you think is more important, to keep the belt there so he can uphold his legacy, or we move the heavyweight division, take the title away from him?
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you just canceled out my question, but anyway, I don't know if you heard about this, but seems like Francis wants to come back, and he says he changed his mind. Would you be open for him to come back if he really wants to, and then if he says okay to your conditions?
Francis says he changed his mind and he would consider coming back to the UFC. Would you be open to having Francis back?
He would consider coming back to UFC if what? One thing I've learned over the years about Francis doesn't always mean what he says publicly. What he says behind the scenes are different than what he says publicly. I'm not a big fan. I would be shocked if Francis ever came back here on lots of different levels. I'm not a fan, and he doesn't always mean what he says publicly.
Yeah, with Tom Aspinall being an officially champ, who is the number one contender right now? Whether it's
so International Fight Week starts Monday in Las Vegas, and Tom will be in Vegas all week with us. So we'll get together with him and figure out what's next.
What's good, everybody? So Antonio back in the video. We're back in the video channel. Today's video, we'll do another Rant Talk video. In today's video, of course, we are going to be doing another Rant Talk video. And then, of course, another Rant Talk video we're going to talk about is one of my favorite UFC fighters of all time, Jon Jones. If you guys have not noticed already, I'm sure you probably already knew about this right now. After all, it's been like, what, 3 days? Well, actually, it's been 3 days because this happened on Saturday when I was recording this on Tuesday, like Tuesday night, whatever. But nonetheless, though, breaking news, I guess. It's already like 3 days late. I'm already 3 days late for this, but whatever. Jon Jones has retired from the UFC. He has officially vacated the UFC Heavyweight Championship. Now it's Tom Aspinall, who was the UFC Inter Heavyweight Champion. It's now the UFC Heavyweight Champion. So let me repeat that again. So some of y'all who are confused, Jon Jones, an MMA UFC fighter, has officially retired from the sport of UFC and MMA in general. He was the UFC, heavyweight champion. He vacated his title, and Dana White just announced that he is now going to give Tom Aspinall the UFC Heavyweight Championship. So now he's officially the UFC Undisputed Heavyweight Champion. So he decided to retire. Some people are having their differences in this retirement of Jon Jones. A lot of people are. Me personally, he should have probably retired after the whole entire Stipe Miocic fight. After that Stipe Miocic fights, he should have retired right there and there. If he wasn't gonna fight Tom, whatever, he should just vacate the title, whatever, all type of stuff. Because Tom made it very clear. It's not Jones, it's the title he has for it. And if he's not going to face it for it, at least, give it, vacate your title so the, UFC heavyweight division can move on to it. Of course, Jon Jones eventually decided to call it quits, decided to retire, and, say from the UFC. And, of course, he eventually, retired. So, yeah, it's a bit shocking to a lot of you guys, but me personally, I'm not shocked about this because Jon Jones is one of my favorite UFC fighters of all time. He's been doing this, during his early 20s and all the way up to right now. He's been, now he's retiring at age 37. It's about that time that Jon Jones do retire. I really wish he would just fought Stipe Miocic, retire there, and have Tom take over the UFC, the heavyweight division. But he held it off for like so damn long to the point where there were no fights. He wasn't active as much compared to Tom, but finally decided to say, okay, let me vacate the title, move on, and have Tom take over. Because he had no interest in facing Tom, that's okay. A lot of many people figured that this fight was not going to happen due to the fact that, Jon Jones was not interested in fighting, Tom. But hey, though, at the end of the day, we finally can move on from this whole entire UFC, heavyweight division being, stopped there because, one fighter didn't want to fight another fighter, and It's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you're inter heavyweight champion or any champion in any division, you're more likely gonna face the world champion of the division. You know what I'm saying? But I guess we can never get this to the heavyweights because the whole Jon Jones situation with the UFC and Tom wants to fight. It's been hold off for so long. And now finally Tom can finally get his shine in the UFC heavyweights division, and Jon Jones can finally retire and have his own piece. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what I'm saying, and it's you know what I'm saying, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? If many guys may not know it, Jon Jones is one of my favorite UFC fighters of all time. I have nothing but respect for John for everything for everything he has done for the sport. You know what I'm saying? He's a really great fighter, a beast, one of the best pound for pound fighters, one of the best, mixed martial arts fighters I've ever seen in my life. Been pretty good, you know what I'm saying? Pretty good career. He has his ups, definitely has his downs. If you guys already know, you already know. Not gonna get into all that in today's video, whatever. But nonetheless, though, he officially retires. He's gonna hang up the gloves. And honestly, I think this is the best situation he could have done is retire. Not in this way, but in a way where I said he could have just retired by beating Stipe and then move on and let Tom take over, and that's it. But instead, he retired the way where he looks like he doesn't want to fight Tom, whatever. You're seeing the money negotiations where he has to fight Tom here and there. It was a bit of a complications, and John could have done his part of it in the bargain, and you will see. But we're never gonna get that huge big fight between Jon Jones and Tom, because that would have been the biggest fight so far this year in the UFC, and probably the biggest fight in UFC heavyweights division history. It's kind of was something that the heavyweight division needs, because let's be real, it's been boring lately. But unfortunately, due to the situation that happened, with Tom and all that type of stuff, it's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate that, that this happened, because, it would have been a great fight, but instead it's destroyed, unfortunately. But hey, look on the bright side, you know what I'm saying? At least we got, full, I guess you could say full closure, you know what I'm saying, this. And if we could finally, move on and get the division back on going, back to where it was, and see where we go from there, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, I mean, I'm just glad, I'm super happy that this is all, coming to the end, and Jon Jones can, rest, knowing that he did all he could. Although I would love to see him face Tom, though, since the end of his career, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. We're going to get that. All that matters is that we all move on, and John get his retirement and all that, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, man. So, thank you, John, for everything you've done in the UFC. You put some really great fights and pretty great moments, and I'll never forget those moments. Obviously, you see right here, this is from the Saturdays, June, was it June 21st, 2025, tweet. That Saturday, after he made that announcement, he made a tweet. He said, "Today, I'm officially announcing my retirement from the UFC. This decision comes after a lot of reflection, and I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for the journey I've experienced over the years. From the first time I stepped into the octagon, my goal was to push the boundaries of what was possible in the sport, becoming the youngest UFC champion in history, which." He ended up doing that, defending my world title against some of the best fighters in the world, which he did that, and sharing the unforgettable moments with the fans across the globe, which he did that. These are memories I'll cherish forever. I faced incredible highs and some tough lows, but every challenge has taught me something valuable and made me stronger, both as a fighter and as a person. Well, as a fighter, I agree. As a person, right now it's questionable, but nonetheless, though, yeah, man. I mean, that's just his tweet right here, and he made more of it going forward right here. As you can see, he said the following additional to the tweet. He said, "I want to thank UFC, Dana White, Hunter, Lorenzo, Guy, my family, coaches, teammates, and all the fans who have stood by me through every chapter. Your unwavering support and beliefs in me have been my foundation. To my fellow fighters, thank you for bringing out the best in me and for the respect we've shared inside and outside the cage." Tom will say that. I mean, I'm not gonna get to that. As I close this chapter of my life, I look forward to the new opportunities and challenges ahead. MMA will always be a part of who I am, and I am excited to see how I can continue to contribute to the sport and inspire others in new ways. Thank you all for being part of this incredible journey with me. The best is yet to come. Well, the best yet to come. No, sure, you know, I'm not gonna get into the afterlife stuff, but I hope, wish nothing for the best for Jones. You know what I'm saying? After the whole MMA, his career. I hope Dana White don't bring him back, honestly, because he's done his part. He don't need to prove anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, other than the fact the whole Tom situation, I feel like he could just wait to Stipe and fight him and retire. But that's Tom's situation is a whole nother thing, though. But I'm not gonna put him down, what I'm saying, as many others would do in this situation. But nonetheless, yeah, that's pretty much it for Jon Jones and his tweet and his career and all that. Here's his stats right here from a random Instagram user. You know what I'm saying? That screenshot for it. He has 16 wins in the UFC title fights, which I think that's the best. Youngest UFC champion of all time, 23 years old, which is crazy. 20 fight unbeaten streaks. He was on a 20 fight unbeaten streak. I think that's a record, right? I think that's the first place record. I don't know. 2 division champion, of course, light heavyweight champion and heavyweight champion. 2 career wins in the UFC, tied 5th with most of all time. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. Getting 22 wins in the UFC career. That's pretty cool. Never been knocked down in his MMA career. Jon Jones never been knocked down in his MMA career? Really? You're right. Now I think about it, he has got taken down before. I was gonna say that, but never been knocked down. Yeah, I think okay. I was just kind of remembering this. I was like, hey, he got knocked down before? No, he has not. So, that's a pretty interesting stat right there. As you see right here is the UFC stats for Jon Jones, 2008 through 2024. The last fight he fought was Stipe was in 2024. So that makes it 16 years since he's been in the UFC, basically, technically, if you want to say that. 30 fights, 28 wins, 1 loss. Unfortunately, that elbow bullshit loss that UFC made the dumb rules that makes no sense. I don't know why, but whatever. No contest because that UFC, that DC Cormier versus Jon Jones number 2. You know what I'm saying? The Jon Jones ended up beating DC, knocking him out, but he got test positive for steroids, basically. He has 11 knockouts, so he wasn't always a lethal knockout, person, but, he was really good, though. Title fights, he has over 17 title fight wins. I thought it was 18. I think it's 17. I think he has, the most defense in the UFC light heavyweights division. He has, a multiple light defense. And he has a record for most title fights to win. So that's pretty cool for the stat for Jon Jones and all that. As you can see right here, of course, Tom Aspinall, official Instagram account, he said for all you fans, it's time to get this heavyweight, division going. An active, undisputed champion, which, of course, after Jon retires, Tom became the UFC, undisputed heavyweight champion because of that. So just want to point out a little bit real quick because, obviously because of the Jon Jones retirement, Tom became the new champion because of this. It's unfortunately the way he had to win the UFC heavyweight championship by having Jon retiring, but he got the championship. He's now the undisputed champion and all that. But yeah, I just want to point that out a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much it on everything on Jon Jones and his entire, career and everything and the whole situation about the whole Tom thing. Obviously, Dana White's going to be talking to Tom Aspinall at this point to discuss the future plans for who is he going to face his first title defense. But meanwhile, Jon Jones is officially retired. I don't know why he decided to retire. It could be because he don't want to fight Tom or whatever. It don't matter. You guys can decide that in the comment section down below. Me personally, it would have been better if he retired when he fought Stipe, the best heavyweight, champion, best heavyweight at the time, and then call it quits. And that was it. But instead, he was just waiting for something to happen, and then next thing you know, a lot of people will linger towards fight Tom, and Dana White even said that the winner of the fight between Stipe and Jones will face Tom, and Jones won, and he hasn't fought Tom, and it's been a recurring thing. People calling him a duck and all that. Many people were suggesting he probably should fight Alex Pereira but unfortunately he lost his title, so it's like now you have to fight Tom. Like it was so many roller coasters during his last run with the UFC, and unfortunately it ended like with his retirement in a way that some people might call it ducking or whatever. But whatever case may be, whatever you guys decide, nonetheless though, besides off the UFC, off the octagon, situation and all that, and all that type of stuff, Jon Jones was really one of the best and most gifted, UFC fighters I've ever seen. He's really good. Honestly, man, so many great moments for Jon Jones, and honestly, I can't forget about the time when he fought Gustafsson we saw Gustafsson for the first time. Personally, I thought Gustafsson won, but man, he was this was the first fight ever I fully believed Jon was beatable, and it looked like he was going to be beatable, but Jon pulled through and won the whole thing. That was a pretty good moment I'll never forget. And then his fight, of course, against Shogun Ryu, Shogun Ryu, he became the youngest UFC champion at 23 years old. That was pretty iconic, It was pretty good because, him becoming a UFC champion at that early age is pretty crazy. And it's really awesome. It's a really cool moment. Him versus Rashad Evans came to mind because they once was like partners. And then next thing now they're not friends no more. And then, obviously they went back and forth with each other. This was like the first rivalry I fully believe that there like some grudge going on. Like that was like, I believe that was like Jon Jones' first rivalry, and that was pretty good. And obviously Jon Jones was just way ahead of Rashad Evans and all that type of stuff. Of course, how we can forget about him versus DC. That's my favorite like rivalry, like one of my favorite rivalries of all time in UFC. Like him versus him versus DC. I never heard of DC until I found some footage of him. Like that's the funny part. When I knew about DC, was he slammed the fuck out of one of the best heavyweights. His name was like Henderson. I forgot his name was Dan Henderson, I believe. He slammed the hell out of him and treated like he was a child and beat the fuck out of him. He was ready for Jon Jones, and that's how I kind of like got to know about DC because obviously of Jon Jones and his rivalry with Jon Jones and all that. Because their beef goes way back before before DC even stepped into the octagon, which is add more to the flame, and they became personal. I'll never forget the time when Jon and DC was talking while the cameras were off, quote unquote, what he thought the camera was off, and he said, "Hey, pussy, you still there?" And then DC said, "Yeah, I'm still there." And he said, "You so fake," and then that smile that Jon did. It's kind of like a fake smile, like he really it was one of those, man. That was really cool, man. I just wish it could have his ending of his career could have been done better, but nonetheless though, Jon Jones retire and all that. Obviously his afterlife and all that type of stuff came to effect, while he was winning, partying and doing some crazy stuff. Off life, thing and all that type of stuff that was going on during his time when he was UFC champion. It's unfortunate the way it did end it, you know what I'm saying, and when the whole situation happened. And a fire like Jon, you would think it would never be like this way, but unfortunately it is though. But outside from that though, great career. I really wish he would have ended his career off by fighting Tom, get that big last paycheck and then move on. But overall, his career was pretty good, you know what I'm saying? Youngest champion, had really good rivalries with DC and Rashad Evans and then Gustafsson. Those were my top three. You know what I'm saying? His spinning kicks were pretty cool. The elbow signature, bro. I never knew somebody could do an elbow like that until Jon Jones came around. I don't think George St. Pierre did this. I don't think Anderson did this, though. I don't know, but this elbow he did was so vicious, though. It was pretty cool. Obviously, he was never a finishing type of person, though, but he's always get the job done, defend his title really, really well. Like I said, I feel like, honestly, have those steroids and Had he not got caught by getting up with those steroids and then this outside trouble, wouldn't it be effective? Wouldn't been effective on his career in the UFC. I feel like a lot of people would have considered him being like the greatest of all time. You know what I'm saying? He had a complete career. You know what I'm saying? No one really beat him for real, for real. But if y'all want to say Tom Aspinall beat him because he didn't want to fight him because of fear or whatever, but go figure or something like that, I guess. But other than that, though, man, he really had a good career. You know what I'm saying? And unbeatable, untouchable. It's unfortunate, that he retired. I would love to see him have that one more fight. Maybe, Alex Pereira or Tom Aspinall. It didn't matter. I just want to see that fight to happen. But unfortunately, we're never gonna get that fight to happen because Jon Jones retired. Sorry if I'm stuttering a little bit, but Jon Jones retired, so it is what it is. But hey, look on the bright side. At least we got some full closure. Finally, we can move on. And I wish nothing for the best for Jon Jones. Hopefully, he can stay his ass out of trouble. But who knows, Jon Jones? So anything can happen. God forbid for him to get in trouble, but. Who knows? I don't know. But only time will tell. Jon Jones had a great career. One of my top 3 favorite, UFC fighters of all time. Of course, he's not my GOAT, though. But my GOAT is Anderson Silva and George St. Pierre, though. But he's one of the greatest of all time. He's at least top 5, top 3 of when it comes to being a GOAT. You know what I'm saying? I'll keep it at that. Had a wonderful career. Nothing for the bet. Wish nothing for the bet for Jon Jones. God bless him. And may he ride to the sunset for, better life outside of the octagon. And if he does somehow come back, that will be shocking, but I wouldn't be surprised, though. I wouldn't be surprised. Only time will tell, you know what I'm saying, because we've seen people come back, all that type of stuff. And want to get like a few shots, what I'm saying, see if they can fight a little bit more, whatever. But only time will tell with Jon. We don't know for sure. If he decided to retire, then that's what it is. But, hey, it is what it is. I can't, be upset about it. Wishing nothing for the best for Jon again, and God bless him. Wonderful career. Just stay out of trouble. That's all I gotta say. And don't come back to UFC because you've done everything you can. You have nothing to prove. I'll leave it at that. But nonetheless, though, man, that's pretty much it. I ain't got nothing to say about this whole entire video. Thank y'all for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below how you feel about, Jon Jones' retirement and the whole UFC heavyweight division, situation and all that type of stuff that's been going on. And, yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Thank y'all for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. And, yeah, as always, take care. I'm out. Peace. Thank you, Jon Jones, for an amazing 16-year career. Wish nothing for the best for you.